People will often refer to shrimp as the roach of the sea, and so I think in today's video we should discuss the roach of the WWE games, because anyone who plays these games know that one mode in particular is often neglected and often left out. Universe mode for pretty much the last decade or so has been treated like it's the ugly duckling. It doesn't really get too many quality of life improvements or huge updates that it deserves. And you know, they've pretty much really used a lot of funding that could have gone to this in departments such as my faction or the island. And so in this year's game, I even said it in my first impressions video, I said that universe mode this year had the potential to be on the level of something such as Fire Promoter in Fire Pro Wrestling World. And we kind of have that, but it's at a bit of a cost, because today I want to talk about the issues and the good. Timestamps will be in the description as always, but I think we're going to do something a little bit different today. I don't want to talk about the bad first and then the good. Let's talk about the good, because universe mode, believe it or not, it actually has a lot of good things in it this year, but the trade-off is where things kind of get sketchy. One of the biggest quality of life improvements that 2K added this year is that when you start up a universe mode, from the rip, you can automatically decide that if you want to do, let's say you want to throw in ECW, WCW, as soon as you start it, those are already preset. Of course, you'll have to add people for the roster, but everything is already set up. In the previous games, you know, you'd have to do a custom show, etc, etc, versus now, it's just an automatic template. And another thing that they also added with this feature, you can choose what month you want to start it. Say you wanted to start in WrestleMania, and instead of starting in May, you could just start in April. And since we're on the topic of the months and setting up, one of the favorite things for me this year is that when you're setting up your universe mode, you can choose which PLEs you want to run throughout the year, when you want to run them, etc, etc. Now, this is why it's such a huge quality of life. In the previous games, you know, you'd have to individually go through month by month by month to set it up, versus now it's just automatically there when you start it, and then you can just choose and decide, do I want to run SummerSlam in week 1? Do I want to run it in week 2, week 3, week 4? And so it gives the game much needed depth, in my opinion. One of the other coolest additions that they did as well is that you can now import teams from, I guess, you know, base roster into your universe mode. Now, I want to say WWE 2K26, where the tag finishers were kind of glitched. If you had a team that was on your roster and then you created them in the universe mode, you could kind of glitch it so that their tag finisher would carry over into universe mode. But now you don't even have to worry about any of that. All you got to do is, you know, when you're first getting into the game, you go over to the roster, you create a team. Once you go to universe mode, you can then import said team into the universe. To try it out, I created the Lucha Bros, and so now I don't even have to remake them. All I had to do was click the import button. Voila. As great as the quality of life features are, they aren't even the main selling point of the game as far as universe mode goes. This year in universe mode, the presentation is where this game absolutely shines. Finally, man, if you're doing a promo and they have a championship, the champion will actually bring the title out to the promo. And then somewhere else they steal with the presentation. For example, say a champion is in a rivalry with someone. I give you an example. I had Gunther and Dragunov. That's a rivalry I love, especially love to run in the universe mode. And so what I did was, Gunther is the world heavyweight champion, and so I can't remember if Dragunov, I think Dragunov called him out, and so Gunther came to the ring with the belt. Now Dragunov is the #1 contender, and so he called him out, and I think it told me I had the option of saying, like, you know, we can just fight, you don't deserve a match, or I could just tell him something like, we can have this title match right now instead of wait. And so I chose that, and it, you know, it actually created the championship match. And I was kind of shocked, because, you know, in the previous games, you would just say something like, oh, well, you think you can get this title, come take it. And then if they had a match, it would just be a regular match, or it would just wait until the pay-per-view. Now, there is a pro and a con of this. When I talk about the issues with universe mode, we'll come back to this, but their presentation was crazy. This genuinely made me feel like I was watching a real wrestling show because I was able to literally have an impromptu championship match. They also have redesigned the brawls, or well, I feel like I hate to say that, but they even improved them. You know, in universe mode, if somebody called somebody out and they did a brawl, you would have maybe what 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and it would just trigger a cutscene where they come break it up. In this game, no. If you call somebody out and they start a fight, you will have to completely finish their fight until somebody is incapacitated. Why again? Why has it taken so long for this to be added? I don't know, but am I glad to see it? Hell yeah. To continue with this whole immersive gameplay, another addition for Universe Mode that continues to elevate the presentation, you have post-match interviews. And again, man, just like their regular promo counterparts, these things can lead to brawls, they can lead to just regular confrontations, they can lead to respectful moments, and it's like, damn. Again, bro, it genuinely feels like I'm watching an actual wrestling program. And then to even fully, and I keep saying this, but I just really cannot nail this enough, the presentation. This is some of the best presentation I've ever seen in any sort of sports game, any sort of video game immersion ever. And then now this is technically cheating. This isn't specific to Universe Mode. This is more of a generalized gameplay edition, but since it's Universe Mode, it just fully heightens the mode. Certain wrestlers like Randy Orton, when he comes out, the crowd will sing voices, and it's like, damn. And he's not the only one. They'll also do this for CM Punk with Cult of Personality. $2K has also finally changed the Money in the Bank briefcase. They've made it much more easier to trigger, to use. And so for once, they've actually done something, you know, which again, man, I don't know why it's taking them so long, but the Money in the Bank briefcase can now be shared between both brands. You can also use the Money in the Bank briefcase now to cash in on a mid-card title, because remember when Austin Theory did it like in 2022, I think? Well, was it 2022? He cashed in on Seth Rollins and lost. But either way, you can use it for that. And then also give you another example of just how they fully overhaul Universe Mode. They have added the draft. You have complete control over the draft. You can either manually draft for however many brands you want. You can let the AI draft. You can also pull from NXT like they do in real life. You can turn on whether you want free agents to be able to be drafted. Do you want legends to be drafted? You can turn on certain protective modes like how many champions should a show be able to draft. You can do reserve picks to protect people. You can decide whether you want factions to be split up or not. And they even give you the whole full cutscene about it. They'll do a rundown and be like, oh man, this pick is going to be great. They're going to really shake things up. And it's just so much of a huge addition. People have been requesting the draft come back in the games for years. And I remember back in the older games, I think the last time I specifically remember it, WWE, I don't know, was it 13 or 2K14? I know WWE 12, I specifically remember with that one. And the draft, it was cool, but it was just totally random in the sense of you would just be playing a match. Next thing you know, they would just be like, oh, Sheamus has been drafted to SmackDown. And then they would just carry on like it wasn't a big deal or nothing. And you might see maybe 5 people in total have gotten changed. So for 2K to have fully fleshed it out this year, it's just cool. And I know I keep coming back to this, but the presentation for Universe Mode this year is just the main selling point of the mode. But unfortunately, we got to talk about the trade-off. Remember how I was just talking about Gunther, Dragunov, and how we had an impromptu championship match at SmackDown? Well, I want to say, man, maybe two weeks, I think it was 2 weeks later, it was SummerSlam. the rivalry, it wasn't over. The rivalry didn't end. But when it came time for SummerSlam, there was no match. Gunther and Dragunov didn't face each other. I think Gunther actually defended the title against somebody. I think he might have defended it against like Randy. And so I was kind of like, that's weird. But I kind of wrote it off as a one-off because, the other games would do that. Sometimes it would be a glitch, but it was very rare. And then I just kind of, I just put it to the back of my mind. I would play a couple more rivalries with other people. I think I had Naomi in a rivalry with Bailey or Io. It came time for SummerSlam as well. Naomi is fighting Nikki Bella. I'm like, that's kind of weird. I was playing another match. I can't even remember who it was. Let's say like Penta, because I got Penta in the tag team division with Rey Fenix. Penta is in a Intercontinental Championship match. I'm like, that's weird. I don't have a problem with them adding that as a feature because it's realistic. But I'm like, something isn't adding up. But I've been so busy lately, I haven't had time to just really fully sit down and just go crazy in universe mode like I do every year. But I've been seeing more and more people online talk about it. I saw someone bring up the whole championship thing, like I just said. And then I was like, so I'm not the only person that's having this issue. I think the same person mentioned about the rivalries aren't being finished up at PLEs. I'm like, that's interesting. And I think in one of the comment sections, somebody did speak on the feature I just said about people going for championships that they're not in the division. And it was like, that's realistic. I think they added that as a backdoor feature, which I don't have a problem with. But it's just kind of like, And I haven't played Universe Mode since patch 1.05 dropped. But these tweets are after the patch. Now in Universe Mode, I had a T-pose glitch happen twice. Again, that was patch 1.04. That was that version of the game. But I'm starting to really question, is Universe Mode just kind of broken in some ways? Were we a little too over ambitious this year and the mode is just kind of wonky? So that's the only negative that I know of at this time. I'm hoping that patch 1.05 fixed it and that tweet was just him saying that without spending too much time after the patch. Who knows, man, because again, it's 2K. But, that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comment section. Have you been having any sort of issues, glitches, or bugs, specifically in Universe Mode? Have you had any of these issues that I just discussed? Other than that, what are your thoughts? Are you enjoying the mode? What do you think about the quality of life additions? What do you think about the whole presentation this year? Because like I said, the presentation, it's got me so geeked. Like, that's the main thing I love about Universe Mode this year. Honestly, the whole presentation for it was the only reason I really got 2K. I was going to say 2K26. But, I'm a moron. So, But, hey, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, go ahead and super kick that like button like you Shawn Michaels himself. Pick up that subscribe button. Hit it with a Batista bomb. Hit it with a spear. Hit it with a jackhammer. Hit it with an AA. Matter of fact, WrestleMania season on the way. Hit it with an RKO. But again, man, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Your boy signing out. Peace.